Close up on macadamia nut cookie.
Close up on the cookie.
Close up
Close
on
up on
cookie.
the... The political solution, I want to be really clear about that. I'm saying, here's my experience. As an American Jew, I'm not Israeli, I'm not Palestinian. I've never had anybody blow themselves up and lost a child or been scared. I've never had my house bulldozed or a soldier come in and take my child away to go to jail. Like, I have not experienced that. And I recognize that I'm coming from that position of privilege. And that was important for me to own in speaking it. But that also opened, I don't know, I had some amazing conversations. I had an Israeli guy who said, you know, he's like, well, this is really beautiful writing, but you're not balanced. You're not, you know, there isn't, and I said, you know, and that was another thing. I was like, balance is a really subjective idea too.
Yeah.
What is balance?
What is balance?
You know, and I was like, you know,
3 voices on this side,
right,
3 on this
exactly.
side, or what?
And even side. I mean, and then I had a Holocaust survivor tell me a story. There's a poem in the book called Refugee, which talks about this boy who came from Russia. He was a refugee, and without going into the whole political situation, you know, basically when Jews were immigrating from Eastern Europe, there wasn't space for them initially. So they were put in because, you know, and they were put in these holding camps.
Yeah,
and then
right.
as the Arab-Israeli war was happening, which the Israelis called the war for independence, the Arabs called Nakba, which means disaster. As that was happening, Arab towns were being either evacuated voluntarily or liquidated by the army, or battles happening. But as Arabs were leaving or being forced out, then immediately the army was bringing these Jewish refugees by truckload to fill in these towns. And so this boy,
Sounds like a bad recipe.
right.
Yeah.
So imagine you've been a refugee and suddenly you have a bed.
Yes.
And it's really interesting. So that's what that poem is about. But as the enemy. I am afraid that this poem will contribute to the destruction of Israel. I am afraid that if I visit Adel Handal and his family in Bethlehem one more time, I am betraying the Jewish state. If I teach the women of Nachalim poetry, if I give voice to their rage, what great aunt of mine shot in the back before an unmarked grave will have died then, again for nothing? If I love the suffering of the Palestinians, it is so bright, more than the suffering of my own. If I work for a better life for that dark-eyed boy in Aida refugee camp who chased after our bus with arms spread like a hawk's wingspan, who lifted a finger to save the child in Warsaw, Łódź, Berlin, if that boy grows strong and straps a bomb, or worse, writes an article, a play, the perfect argument against the Jewish state, then what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? There you go.
I love that.